I'm starting to think that people are taking season 3 for granted. If you guys aren't jumping on the train that is season 3, I don't even know what episode we're by now. 4, 5, it doesn't matter, all right? Because we're not going to stop. The point is that we're not going to stop. All right, so here we are. You better be subscribed. You better be liking these videos, because you know what's going to happen if you're not subscribed. Then you're going to miss out on some valuable piece of information, on some content that you're not going to get anywhere else. What are you gonna go to another magic channel? You think you're going to find the same level quality? You think you're going to find another channel with this phenomenal production value here, with this gimbal that's supposed to track my face, but unfortunately it doesn't, because I didn't reach 50K by the allotted 3-year anniversary mark because of you guys? It's fine. It's fine. Today we have an action-packed episode. We have a hot little bit of a trick, a variation, if you would, on a trick called Everywhere and Nowhere that I aptly called Everywhere and Somewhere. Now, if you notice behind me, there's a little bit of a game capture device. This is not done by accident. This is done entirely on purpose. If you guys haven't realized it, what I'm doing now on the channel is some hotness. I'm uploading and playing some games. I'm playing Switch games on this lovely stream device every time I feel like it. There's no set schedule, but I'm playing every single time. So you guys might want to hit the notification bell icon to know when I'm going live and when you want to join. Everyone dies. When I'm unhappy, everyone dies, okay? Speaking of streams, speaking of hotness, Wednesdays, every single Wednesday at about 8 o'clock, your boy's doing a ham radio. Ham radio. It's not ham radio yet. Me and you and me, if you guys don't recognize or remember you and me, it's this guy right over here. Right over here. It's this guy, me and you and me. We're doing a podcast called Ham Radio, but we need you guys to subscribe. We need you guys to follow that train. And the link is going to be below for when you guys could subscribe to Ham Radio and support us so that we could actually start this fantastic podcast. Everything's lining up. Things are moving along for that. But, of course, we're going to need people to watch it. So make sure to go subscribe to that if you haven't already. Anyways, let's just get to the trick. I think this is a long enough intro. I think this is long enough for what I wanted to accomplish here today. So we're going to jump directly into the trick today and show you guys how you too could be the life of the party and impress the ladies. You know what I mean? You're going to impress the ladies with this trick. They're not going to actually want to go anywhere near you, but they're going to be impressed for the time being, and they're going to go home to their regular boyfriends that aren't magicians. So let's just, how can I do a transition from here? Let's do one of these memes. There's nothing that people love more than Bin Wang playing cards and references to old seasons. If you notice, we've gone to a little bit of a top down, a little bit of a diagonal angle here, for this particular trick because, well, it looks best this way. So I decided to bring the pickles out. I brought this just to add to the aesthetic of the table with nefarious stains. But we're going to be using these Bin Wang playing cards, and I'm hoping to make hype cards and be able to sell for $25 a pop, just because I'm using them and I'm popular. So look out for those in a store near you. But we're going to be using this ordinary deck of playing cards. It could be any deck, honestly. It could be the deck that your nan has on her windowsill to remind her for younger, more rambunctious days, when she was into the blacks. But anyways, this is a deck of cards that's mixed and shuffled, and we're actually going to have the spectator look at a card. So in this case, they're going to call stop as we dribble the cards, not our mouths. And they're going to pick a card here. So let's say they call stop over here. They look at this card, of course, for the sake of this video. I'm going to give you a little bit of a peek and show you that it's an ace. Of course, I don't know what that card is because, well, let's be honest, I've gone through enough manic and depressive episodes being a magician that my memory isn't what it used to be. But we have the spectator shuffle the cards as best they can at this point. And of course, we're going to take out some cards here that we think they might have picked. So, of course, I'm not showing you this because that would defeat the trick, right? That wouldn't be much of a trick. So I think these cards are actually going to be relevant to you, sir. Now, I want you to notice something. Even you and your infinite retardation for accepting watching a magic trick, you only selected one card. However, if you've noticed and counted, I've actually taken out 4 cards. And believe it or not, what I want to do today is I'm going to test your woman's gaze. They say that there's nothing stronger than a woman's gaze. and I'm going to test that today. So what I want you to do is use your woman's gaze to look at the back of this card and imagine that it was your cards. Sir, you're going to be a ma'am for the time being. Then maybe after I'm gonna make you a ma'am. So here you notice that you stare at the card and it actually starts to look like your card, right? But that could be a coincidence. That could just be maybe I took the ace of clubs out of the deck. So why don't you stare at this card as well? And of course the spectator stares at this card and it happens to also turn into the ace of clubs. I'll tell you what, sir, ma'am, we're going to do this one more time just to prove that it's your gaze truly that's turning these cards into the ace of clubs. Go ahead and stare at the back of this card. Good job, good job. And that also turns into the ace of clubs. Now here's the thing, you know that this is a trick. This is an illusion. Your woman's gaze is not really a thing. So what I want you to do is just be normal for once and realize that magicians love tricks that end with the 4 aces. So that's a little bit of a hot one here. Now, of course, this is not always going to be the 4 aces. It's going to depend on the card the spectator picks, but we have a nice little bit of a rendition of the everywhere and nowhere trick where the spectator stares at one card and it becomes their card. However, this one doesn't use gimmicks. It just uses the diminishing count sequence. So that's going to be a little bit of a bad one that I'm going to go over in this particular trick and show you guys how you could do it and hopefully get a man to temporarily garner a woman's gaze, and then afterwards it won't be anything odd because technically he's a woman, right? So that's allowed. So for this, we're going to have a borrowed shuffle deck. So the deck's going to be mixed and cut to your heart's content. Now, of course, if you don't know how to mix and shuffle a deck, oh boy, well, I have a special treat for you. And by me having a treat for you, I mean that you have a treat for me because I'm going to show the PigCake Magic Academy. That's right, the PigCake Magic Academy. You get 2 new videos every single week, $5 a month. That's all it is. That's not even a jar of pickles. Wait, actually, no, that is about a jar of expensive pickles. That's a jar of farmhouse pickles a month. You could go a month without having farmhouse pickles, right? 2 videos every single week going over going over coin stuff from a beginner's perspective all the way to an expert. Just because you know magic doesn't mean you shouldn't check out the academy because we're going over sleights and moves. And my intention is to put everything that I know there onto the academy. $5 a month, but you don't only get 2 videos. You also get access to the piggybacker $1 tier, which if you want to pay only $1, you get 2 videos, but they're tutorials. It's not based on improving yourself in terms of magic. Still great tutorials you don't get anywhere else, but if you're part of the academy, you get 4 videos a week. 4 videos a week. Oh boy. Case in point here, you're going to do a little bit of a peeksies. You're going to do a little bit of a dribble peek in order to ascertain the spectator's cards. So we're going to dribble through the cards. Now what's going to happen is that as you're dribbling, you notice that you're actually going to be lifting your thumb a little bit higher than you actually would normally. So these cards are about eye level, a little bit below eye level. You're going to dribble the cards and have the spectator call stop. Now if you've noticed, when you dribble the cards, you can actually look at all the cards. Now the instant that the spectator calls stop and you actually see the lower left corner, in this case it being the 3 of diamonds, you're going to look away and have the spectator look at this card. Now you're looking away, you're going to dribble these cards back and hand the deck to the spectator for them to shuffle. Now notice this little bit of a hotness because you're apparently looked away the entire time, so there's no way you can know the actual identity of the card or really the identity of your father because he left so long ago you don't even remember what he looks like. But in this case, it's going to be easy to remember the card because you've just seen the card. Your father might be different. So here we're going to call stop. In this case, let's say we happen to peek at the 5 of spades. They shuffle the deck, they mix it, and here we're going to take out cards that supposedly we think are their card. Now all we're doing here is we're actually taking out the mates. So we're going to go through the deck and we're going to take out the mates of that card. So in this case, the 5 of spades, the 5 of diamonds, we're taking out the 5 of hearts, and then finally the 5 of clubs. I forgot what card the spectator picked. I forgot. Maybe my memory isn't what it used to be. Did I explain of the whole manic thing because of magicians? Yes, I did. So we're going to assume the spectator's card is the 5 of diamonds. That's fine. It could have been the 5 of diamonds, but I don't remember, honestly. A lot of comp tricks goes into making these videos. I hope you guys appreciate what I do for you. But here, we're going to assume that the spectator's card is a 5 of diamonds. So as we're taking out the cards, we're going to try to procure to get their selected card to be third. So third face down. If you've noticed, you could count. That's 1, that's 2, and that's going to be 3. And we want that to be their card because we're going to do a little bit of a diminishing lift sequence. Now at this point, you're going to use your dirty little pinky to actually pull down on the bottom card and obtain a break right there above it. The reason for that is because we're actually going to do a triple lift. If you don't know what a triple lift is, seriously check out the Academy, because that's like as basic gets for Magic. But a triple lift is we're lifting 3 cards at once. If you want to be a little bit more advanced here, we're lifting 3 cards, turning it over, and we're catching it in the fatty portion of your hand. Now, I don't usually have a lot of fat because well, I'm not a loser magician like you guys. That doesn't work out. I work out fairly regularly, so I don't have the amount of fat that you guys would. But you try to capture this in that fatty portion. And notice that by putting pressure with my thumb, so if I push on my thumb, this actually transfers the break to the pinky. So I could do a triple lift without actually losing that break ever. If I would have done that without that move, which is called the Altman trap, I would be stuck. I would have to do another pinky pull down, and I would have to do that. But in this case, all I do is the Altman trap, and guess what? I'm ready to do another triple lift. So here, we're going to have the spectator stare at this card and use their woman's gaze to try to convert that card into theirs. So here, we're going to show this card briefly, thumb it off. We're still holding the break. We're going to put it back and then do a triple lift, showing them that it is in fact their card. Now, of course, we could just taken this card out. So at this point, we're going to do a triple lift here to turn this card back face down. We're going to deal this card onto the table, and we're going to have the spectator stare at the second card. Guess what? This time we're doing a double lift. Because we have 2 cards, we're going to do a double lift. So we're double lifting 2 cards here, showing the 5 of diamonds, and saying, look, your woman's intuition is stronger than my mom's, and she's the best man I know. This one is a freebie because you could just turn it over. It's not really any sort of move here. I like to personally turn at the wrist to avoid osteoporosis later in life, but that's your prerogative. So here you're just going to show this one. And then lastly, you're going to use the 5 of diamonds to point at the back of this card here. So you're going to use it to point at the back of this card, have the spectator say, or you say rather, sorry, the Comtrex is acting up, that you want them to stare at it and imagine that it's their card as well. Now here you're going to do a little bit of a hot switch here. Now this switch is usually done with the rest of the cards in the hand. However, you're doing it with the actual card itself that you've used to point at it. So the way that works is we're just going to come in with this card. We're going to push with our thumb. At the same time, we're going to lever over using the card that was originally in the left hand, the card that we pointed with, in this case, the 5 of diamonds. So at speed, it just looks like that. That's what it looks like at speed. It's a little bit reminiscent of the Mexican turnover move. Now, again, I can't really say much more about the Mexican turnover move because I really don't want ice knocking me down. But you're doing a Mexican turnover move here, reminiscent of that. Now, if you want, you could do a little move that looks like this. It's a little bit of a hot move based on a packet switch by Juan Tamariz from Spain with the lisp. You know, I recently found out why Spaniards have a lisp, and apparently it's because of a king that had a lisp, and then people started talking like the king, which is kind of funny because essentially people have that lisp to this day because of a retarded king. So the more you know, the more you know. So here, you're going to hold this between your finger and your thumb. So you're holding it between your forefinger and your thumb. And you're going to hold this card between your forefinger and your middle finger. Now, what's going to happen here is we're going to turn this face down. We're going to grab this card with our middle finger and our forefinger here at the same time that we're going to use our thumb to grab this card, effectively switching the card and turning it over. So that at speed just looks like this. So we're going to drop this card at the same time that we do that, and it's just going to look like we've shown both of those cards, and they're both 5 of diamonds. Now, whichever one you choose to use, that's up to you, but ultimately we're left with a 5 of diamonds in our hand, of which you could do whatever a cardistry flourish you want. Just make sure the ladies don't decide to grab you then, because it's going to be tempting for them to grab you when you're doing cardistry, right? All my cardisters, you guys know, right? Repping. So now you're left in a position where you're holding a 5, and all the cards on the table, of course, are the mates of the card that they picked, which you can now turn over and show to the spectator, thus solidifying the fact that you are probably the biggest virgin they've ever seen in their entire life. What a fun trick. That's a fun trick, guys, right? That's a fun trick. That's a trick that I would show to my nan when I really want her to sit on my face. but it's a nice one. Everywhere and somewhere, right? Nice little bit of a variation. Let's see. This could be the thumbnail if I do this correctly. Right here. This is the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully most of you guys haven't clicked away by the time I said thank you for watching this video, as is the statistical probability. But if you haven't, then you're going to be rewarded with a little bit of information here, a little bit of a thing between you and I. Apparently gluten is bad for you. Apparently gluten is bad for you. I've heard gluten is terrible for you. I don't personally go against gluten, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I guess make sure to subscribe to a ham radio. The link is gonna be in the description below. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell icon, because I'm gonna be going streaming on a fairly consistent basis, streaming Breath of the Wild on a Nintendo Switch. So you might want to jump on that. Of course, the archives of that are gonna go on my alternative channel, PigCake Plus, as is a review of my crutches, the crutches that I no longer use because I am no longer handicapped. Thank you. And shout out once again to the lady that hit me with her mid-sized GMC on my orange imitation Honda Shadow motorcycle, completely ruining it and leaving me with a broken ankle for a couple months. Shout out to you, inconsiderate cunt. So that's the video. Thank you guys. I'm gonna go figure out different ways to ingest.
See you again when I see you again. When I see you again, 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 when I see you again.